Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, OFP Nation, and welcome to another episode of Forex Focus, where we talk all about mastering the art of trading with a strong mindset. Nick, are you with me? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful. And to our audience who is with us live, welcome. Please let us know in the comments what your name is and where you are tuning in from so we can say hello and shout you out. We always love to say hello. Let us know also if you could hear us loud and clear because, that helps too. So definitely. All right, my friends, today's episode is ego versus identity. Okay, it's our 44th episode, by the way, which is pretty crazy to think about. Ego versus identity. Who are you without your P and L? Now, for those of you, I know that we have a large audience from different parts of the world. So maybe you may not know what P&L stands for. For those of you who don't know, it's just a short way of saying your profit and your loss. Okay, who are you without your profit and your loss? Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Metaphor, for letting me know. Thank you. It's so good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out with us today. Where are you in the world? Please tell us. I love hearing where traders are from. It's my favorite thing ever. So, who are you without your profit and loss? I feel like this is just a powerful reflection for us to have as traders, right? Who are you? What is your identity? What is your self worth, your confidence, your mindset? When you take away the money, right? When you take away the financial results, who are you really? And I feel like this is a great reflection because it challenges us as traders to ask ourselves, are we still confident? Are we still disciplined and focused when we're not making money in trading, right? Or is our value only tied to when we're making money in trading? Right? Do you define your value by your performance? Or do you have a solid foundation um, regardless of whether you win or whether you lose, right? Can you separate your self-worth from your trading outcomes? And do you understand why it's important to do that? Okay. So that's our topic of discussion today. Why did that come to mind? I don't know. Nick, why do you think? Why do you think I want to talk about this? Putting him on the spot.
Good, good question. Good question. Um, because maybe trading affects people's personal lives at times. I don't know. Yeah, and they kind of let it revolve around everything and they really forget who they are. Yeah, something like that. Kind of reminds me of some series I was watching, but hey, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think on my end. Hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, one thing about it, as traders, especially when you're like a kind of a bit of an influencer, like for example, I'll give you guys a quick example. There is a trading influencer who I follow. Her name is Victoria Duke, or she goes by Tori Trades. Nick, you know who Tori is, right?
Yeah, I should believe so.
Yeah.
There's Linda and there's Tori, right?
Huh?
There's Linda and there's Tori, right?
Well, I don't know Linda very well, but I know Tori, and I watch
All
Tori.
right.
Yeah. Um, you know, there's a lot of pressure on traders, I think, but there's a lot of pressures, especially on trading influencers, especially. And then there's even more pressure on you when you're a girl. Don't know why you guys put so much pressure on us ladies, but you really do, even though the statistics show that females actually make better traders than males. But we want to dive into this topic at hand because it can get stressful, when we tie our self-worth to our performance and when other people tie your self-worth and your value to your performance. We do that, right? Sometimes we look at people and we only we only care about the results. Um, so we're going to talk about that today. And metaphor, I see that you said you're from South Africa. Look, Nick, someone else from South Africa has joined us.
All right, awesome.
How lovely. So thank you so much for sharing. All right. So, Nick, and to, who is with us right now, how would you say that tying your self-worth to your profit and loss can impact your long-term mindset and decision making as a trader?
Okay, I can answer that. All right. Um, so if you tie your net worth, oh, sorry, it's not net worth, self worth, yeah, to your P&L, it can kind of affect you in your day-to-day life, and I believe that is because when you have like a maybe a losing streak, so to say, you find you're not yourself around people, you're acting a tad bit weird. Yeah, and then they keep asking you what's wrong, and you're like, nah, nothing. And then again, because they're not traders, they won't understand you if you say, oh, I lost a trade on dollar yen, I lost a trade on CAD. They won't understand all of that. They'll be like, what is he talking about, really? They'll just say, oh, that's too bad, and they won't even give a second thought about it. So if you're like connecting your self-worth to trade and everything, that will actually lead you, I think, I don't know if I can call it depression or whatever, yeah, to have some kind of depression, like short term for that moment, and it will affect the people around you. And also, if you're tying your self-worth to trading, when it comes to decision making whatsoever, you'll find that you're probably taking trades probably, or just because you want to, I don't know, reach a certain goal before a certain period of time, and then you start messing up your trading whatsoever. Like you start forcing things because you want a certain outcome at the end of it. So you find that you're over trading just because you want to make $1,000 for that month, probably, or I don't know. So that maybe people can just see it. Okay, this guy is like consistent all the time, he makes money, but that's not even the reality of trading. Trading, there are some months you make money, and some months you lose money. But then if you keep tying off that, like, oh, I need to make money every single month so people can see me. If I'm not making money, I'm nothing. Yeah, so yeah, that will really mess up yourself long term. You won't have good quality trades, and the people around you will be affected. That's what I think tying your self worth to your P&L can do to you. Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree with a lot of things that you said, right? It essentially you are it creates a bit of a fragile mindset because you're viewing your self-worth tied to your actual results and your performance, right? And so you're only ever going to feel as good as the numbers that you're making. And if you're not making those numbers, you're going to push yourself to make those numbers. You're going to push yourself harder to make those numbers, which will eventually lead to making some mistakes in your trading. Like, for example, right? This is where we get into ego, right? Signs that ego is influencing your trading choices more than your strategy and your discipline, right? So here are a few things, right? So we know over trading after a loss to prove something. You have to prove something, maybe, and a lot of times we think we have to prove something to ourselves, but a lot of times we feel like we have to prove something to those who are watching us also, you know, especially if you are someone who's trading and the people around you don't believe in you. They don't believe you can do it. Nick, have you ever run into that? Have you ever run into anybody in your family who look at you and say, trading, like nobody makes money doing that? Have you ever had that?
Well, not family, mostly like friends, probably, I would say. Yeah.
Your friends, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be like that. And even I think I remember some time back. Yeah, I remember I was like managing some money for somebody, and then he would be like, "Ah, no, trading is useless. Nobody really makes money off trade." Just because we really had like a bad time in trading in that period. And that was just also attributed because I did not really have the skill I have now. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's that. There's that. Hmm.
Absolutely. The people around you, your circle can definitely impact how you move. Especially like for men, if you're married, right? And you're the provider for your family and you want trading to be a big part of that, it could be hard, especially when things can be inconsistent with our trading income, right? And I know how women can be. I'm a woman. So I know how we can get to questioning things sometimes, right? And that can put
Yeah.
pressure on you. So then you start to overtrade, right? You start overtrading after loss. You start ignoring stop losses or your rules because they feel right this time. And we understand, don't trade what you feel, you know, trade what you see. I learned that early on. Trade what you see. What do you see? What is price action telling you? When you look at price action, when you look at market structure, what is it telling you? What do you see? Let price tell you, in that moment in time, what it needs to tell you to make the decisions you need to make. Not admitting when you're wrong or refusing to lose a trade. You're marrying the trade. You're staying in longer than what you need to when all of the signs for you to cut your losses are there. And a lot of times we end up taking bigger losses than what we need to by doing that, you know? Um,
Mhm.
Taking a win, thinking we've mastered the market. We had a whole podcast episode on being overconfident, right? And getting
Yeah.
complacent. So those are some things to bear in mind. Over trading, ignoring your stop loss, over leveraging, not admitting when you're wrong, marrying the whole trade when you should have got out and divorced it, like, you know, I don't know, 100 pips ago. Like, so yeah. So Nick, can you describe the difference between a performance-based identity and values-based um, trading identity?
Okay. So, okay. Tricky question though. Promise based and value based. All right. I'll try and answer it as best as I can. So, I think performance based, um, I would say is probably like when, let's say like you you do have like goals and everything, like like, okay, in a year I make this much, in a month I make this much in trading. So that's basically your overall performance. You know what your drawdown is, you know what to expect and what not, and then you execute based on that, on specific roles and so forth, and you don't let your emotions get the best of you. Whereby I think value based trading identity is where now you start, um, I think, putting a tag on every P&L that you have. So you'll be like, oh, that $500 profit, that's a Gucci bag. Oh, that $1,000 loss, that is like a payment for I don't know, my medicals or something. Yeah, like that's when you just start putting tags on your P&L, and you I don't know, you just start trading based off of that. Then you'll be like, oh, I also need to be making this amount much of money, like let's say $5,000, so I can just cover my expenses, rather than basing it on performance whatsoever. Because you find you might have like months where you are in losses, like month one, month two, you're not making anything. But then if you're value based, you're always trying to force that win. And of course, you may be lucky from time to time, and you're having that consistent wins here and there, but long term, it cannot be really sustainable, because yeah, you're forcing things, and where there's force, there isn't really any progress, I would say. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was actually thinking about it like kind of a little different. Um, so like for me, when I think of the performance-based identity, like I am identifying with me only being as good as my last trade.
Okay.
And so my I guess like my value fluctuates with my wins and my losses. Like I'm amazing today because I made, three grand. And then I am terrible today because I lost it all.
Yeah.
Which we know that happens all the time. Well, that happens to a lot of traders, especially traders who don't have, a consistent, process, right? When I think of value based identity, I'm more so thinking about the mindset that I'm embodying, you know, where it's like, I know I am amazing no matter what my results are, and I'm not gonna care because, eventually, I'll figure it out. Like it's fine, So it's more so like no matter what, I'm going to be committed to growth. I'm going to embody a mindset about myself where I'm committed to my growth. I'm committed to my discipline no matter what the outcome is. And I think a lot of traders struggle with that because they give up too easily. There's a statistic that says, what statistics, how many, I'm gonna let Nick answer. Nick, what percentage of traders fail in trading?
90% of traders lose 90% of their money in 90 days.
90% lose 90% in 90 days. And that's pretty accurate. Um, and then they quit, right? They get burnt out, they quit. They're like, trading is not for me. But it's like someone who I feel like who has a value-based identity, they they're not letting outcomes, they're not attached to outcomes. They're not attached to the numbers. Yes, the numbers matter, long term, but they're not attached to that, and they're not letting those things define them. And they're still going to show up, and they're going to do the same thing tomorrow that they did today. And they're going to do the same thing next week that they did the week before. And they're going to do the same thing next month that they did the month before. They're still
Mhm.
going to keep showing up consistently, regardless of what the outcomes are, because they know that at some point everything will work out. And the results will come, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess that's kind of like how I might think of it. Nick, I don't know if you want to add anything else.
No, I think that that's it. That's it From my end and your end, I think you've
Yeah,
covered it really well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are
Mm-hmm.
some practical steps then that traders can take daily to detach from the need for external validation?
All right. So, first things first, they should risk what they can afford to lose. I emphasize this once too many times. They are like, if you know that you can afford to lose $100, like probably capital, put that on the line and don't force yourself to overtrade and I don't know, just don't force things. But then if you find that probably your strategy requires more capital and everything like that, then it's best you do fund your account with more capital, but your risk per trade should be what you're comfortable with losing. And you set those kind of parameters on your account. Even like I don't know. I keep hearing about this feature on the trading platforms that does like an auto lock you out from your trading and everything. So you can put those kind of measures into place if they're available to you. Have an accountability partner. Help them. No, not help them. They should help you understand like, okay, when you've lost this certain amount of money, you got to stop trading because it's not good for you. You have lost what you've lost for that day, and tomorrow is another day, and you need to respect your losses and your profits for that particular day and not try and make the next buck off a whim and everything like that. So yeah. Oh yeah, or basically seeking that external validation from your PNL or from people around you. So yeah. And then also like you shouldn't just put so much pressure on yourself, like wanting to impress people. At the end of the day, it's your capital, it's your money, it's your life, it's your journey. So why do you want to show people that you can do A, B, C, D and strain yourself through that? It's not like they're gonna reward you anything and be like, "Oh, here you go. Here's like $100,000 on on showing off that you can do A, B, C, D." So yeah, that's just my perspective on that. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Nick. Um, so I guess if we were to give it some bullet points, right? What are some practical steps traders can take daily to detach from the need for external validation? So, one bullet point I would say is obviously it helps a lot to journal your trades and your emotions. What are you feeling at the time of executing the trade? What are you feeling from the result of your trade? You can't fix anything or address anything that's going on within you and your psychology if you can't first build self awareness. So you have to build self awareness, and journaling helps you to do that. It forces you to sit down and reflect. So consider that, I would say, secondly, celebrate execution, not just your results. Just celebrate the fact that you're sticking to your trading plan, that you're showing up and you're doing it consistently the same every day. You're risking the same, your rewards are the same. You're building a sense of discipline and consistency for yourself. And whether you win or
Mhm.
lose, that is worth celebrating. And that will help your that sense of identity that you need to build instead of that ego, that we deal with, that we fight with. We talk a lot about, affirmations and meditations. We actually had a whole lot about that, about mindfulness, um, that there's a lot of great science behind that and how powerful that can be in helping to rewire your brain and help you build new habits. you know? Um, Stop obsessing over the outcomes, you know? Just stop. You okay, it is what it is. Next, what do we say, Nick?
Yeah.
Trades are like buses and trains. Yeah, you miss one,
Mhm. There's
another
another
one,
one coming.
another one's coming, right? Um,
Yep.
and lastly, guys, stay plugged into things that make you feel good, like do the things you love. Like, yeah, we trade to live. We do not live to trade. I'm going to say that again. We trade to live. We do not live to trade. Don't make trading your everything. Like, there is more to life than that. Give yourself a chance to breathe. It's okay. Right, Nick?
Yep, indeed.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, I think that's a good place for us to stop. I I think those are
Yeah.
some really great things. Um, what are you guys thinking and feeling right now? We definitely will open up the comments for you guys if you want to share anything. Um, what are you learning right now in your trading journey? What takeaways do you have so far? What has stood out to you so far from our discussion today? Feel free to let us know. We'll give you guys a minute. We'll give you guys a minute. Un minuten. I wait, no, it's ein Minuten, I think. Or ein, I don't know. Ein. I know ein is one. Ein, zwei, drei. 1, 2, 3. Vier, 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 vier. Right? No. Eins, zwei, drei, four, vier. Yeah, 4, 5.
As for me, I have no idea.
4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, genau. That's my German for you guys for the day. This is my German lesson. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? All right. Yes, metaphor. Yes. I don't think we realize how helpful journaling, not just the trades we take, because journaling the trades we take are always going to help us identify where we might be able to make some tweaks in our trading or help us identify um what we could have did differently, right? But journaling what you're feeling. What were you feeling, when you took that trade? What were you feeling when you lost or won that trade? Oh man, it could be so what's the word? Ego boosting.
Hmm.
When you win a trade and when you win a lot of trades, right? And then
Yeah.
in the same way, it can just knock you down when you're not. It takes time, guys. It takes time to develop emotional balance as a trader. It's a work in progress for all of us, even for myself. So if you're having a difficult time, don't beat yourself up, and definitely work on building more self-awareness um, with your mental, your psychology, and your emotions. That self-awareness will help you to know where you can adjust, where you can grow, where you could do better. Um, and it will help you long term for sure. So I appreciate you, Metaphor, for sharing that with us. Thank you. Nick, is there anything else you would like to share with our community before we go?
9.
Nein, das ist sehr gut, mein Freund. Is there anybody here from Deutschland? Oh my goodness. Say hello. I'm not from Germany, by the way, guys, but but I do have a very good friend who does live in Germany, and I've been a few times. It's a very beautiful country. So yeah. If you got any value from today's episode, please leave us some love in the comments, like, share, with your trading buddies. And if you are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please make sure that you go on ahead and you subscribe so that you don't miss any updates. And hit the notification bell too, darling, so that when we go live next Monday, you will be the first to be notified. Um, it was a pleasure hanging out with all of you guys today. Thank you for coming and joining in on the chit chat. We are all on this journey together. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. And that is okay, right? But with
Yeah.
Forex focus, success is what?
One trade away.
One trade away. We got it. All right, guys. Happy trading. Be safe out there this week. Make sure you use proper risk management. Pay attention to the news releases that are coming out, especially if you're day trading. And we'll see you guys next week. Oh, and one more thing. We do still have our promotion going on right now, 15% off all accounts if you use the discount code old accounts, because OFP is about to change everything. And a lot of the customization features that you guys have right now will not be available or will not be the same. So take advantage of the way we do accounts now, and get 15% off. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.